Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Who are
It's
you?
it's the Halloween episode.
It is.
You have to guess who I am.
The people listening, oh, now they know what the barks, but they just heard the heavy breathing.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a visual bit on an audio medium. Don't worry about that part.
But there's a YouTube too.
Yeah?
Go check it out. You gotta see. Well, I am a very adorable witch.
Oh, I didn't know you had a costume on. You're a witch. Do you get it?
So
Do you
funny.
get it?
Yeah.
I like your Ouija shirt here.
Thank you.
Let me touch it and see if I can figure.
See what people have
Yeah,
to
let me
say.
touch the shirt. See. I want to see what the afterlife has to say. Can you guess who I am? Can you?
Wolverine?
Close. Vicious like a Wolverine.
Yes.
Tough and mean like a Wolverine.
Predator?
That's right. Of course.
Matt is
Who am I?
Stella for Halloween. You can't get too close. I go out of focus.
I'll back up.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of Stella. There you go. There's
Any more Stella?
all the Stella. Foreground Stella.
No, she doesn't really like that because she's a princess.
Yeah.
And a queen.
No, she would never
She would
caught
never.
panting.
But
Unless
happy
she
Halloween.
exerted any physical effort.
She's very busy, okay? Don't worry about what she's doing. She patrols the house 24/7.
Yes.
Give or take.
Yeah.
24/7.
Well, happy Halloween.
Happy
End of
Halloween.
October.
It's exciting.
All the things. You know, I have a friend that makes fun of how I say Halloween.
How do you say it?
I say Halloween.
Halloween.
She says Halloween.
Halloween.
Yeah. She says I say Thanksgiving funny too. That it's Thanksgiving and I say Thanksgiving.
Isn't it like actually Hallows Eve? Like is where it came from?
I
Like
just always said Halloween. And so every year she's always like, I forget how funny it is when you say Halloween.
I don't think that's weird. I don't know. If you're out there.
You've probably heard me say it for 25 years.
Halloween. Halloween?
Weigh in. How do you say it?
Yeah, how do you say it? Okay.
Well.
Halloween. Okay. Welcome
to the show.
Yeah.
We start with our music. Are we gonna have spooky music this week, or is it just gonna be our normal?
Yes. Yes. Let me think about it. Yeah, I might put a little dun 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 dun
track over it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
music.
Our wedding is pretty spooky.
Welcome to our next chapter of the podcast.
We're here.
I'm Andrea the Witch.
Yes, she is.
And he's Matt the Stella.
Yeah.
His favorite.
I'm being Stella today.
Yes. She's out on a little walk right now. So yeah.
I'm gonna shake like her.
But Matt
rub my belly.
Matt borrowed her.
Yeah.
There you go.
Scratch my belly.
Matt borrowed her collar and rabies tags.
That's right.
So yeah, she's out having her.
Having a good walk right now.
She's having a good time. But
I do have an idea.
Well, you have to introduce us.
Okay, I'll introduce us.
Yeah.
Hi,
because if somebody saw this for the first time today, they may not guess that we're writing a romance novel together.
That's true. Welcome to Our Next Chapter podcast. We're a high school sweetheart couple. We've been together for 25 years.
Yep.
You didn't make the sound. You got to make the ooh sound.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that choice as you looked at me. So
We've been together for 25-ish years. We've got 2 boys that are grown, and we're making a podcast to document the journey of us writing a romance novel together. We started reading them together. Thought, man, let's give it a shot. And from there, we've evolved into interviewing authors and playing games and talking about structure and literary books and things we like, book talk, whatnot.
Learning about writing a first novel from all the experts.
And we've got a great interview today.
Yeah,
we're talking to Lauren Okie later. It's going to be fun. I mean, honest person.
Did not wear the costume.
I did not wear the costume. So. Might have been a little distracting. Me asking intellectual questions dressed as Stella. My collar shaking in the wind.
She is so smart, though.
She is very smart. She baby. So we've got the interview with her, but I've also got a couple of games I want to play with you today. In honor of Halloween.
Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. The first one, let's play. We're going to do a candy draft. Okay. So
okay, you asked me to make a list of my favorite
yeah, I
candies.
said make a list of your favorite
Now I
candies. I
have to
didn't tell you
flavor
why.
them.
That's right. We're gonna go back and forth, and at the end we have to decide who has the better bag of candy.
Okay, well, it's
Okay.
gonna be me because I
So
already
if
have my favorite.
we have to decide who gets first pick. So I'm thinking maybe we rock paper scissors.
I'm thinking it's ladies first because if you take my favorite candy right off the gate, because you already know what it is, and I feel like that's something you would do to upset me.
But I
throw
feel
me
it's
off
more
the
like
gate.
gender equality, like we're on the same
Come
level, you know? So we need to rock paper scissors it out.
Okay.
Okay? You wanna try it?
All right. Just best of one?
Best of one.
Okay, I guess we should also say what we picked. That way the people listening know
Yes.
who
We'll
wins.
play and then say what we picked. Let me think.
Okay.
You're gonna pick that, but then you're gonna pick that because you think I'm gonna pick that.
Uh-huh.
So you're gonna end up picking that. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, ready? Rock,
Paper, scissors, shoot.
I said scissors, he said paper, and I win. All
Okay.
his.
So I get to go first.
No.
No.
All his plotting was for
All
nothing.
right,
Well,
you
you
go
know
first.
I'm taking peanut M&Ms straight up. The
Mm,
best candy there
you
is.
took peanut. I'm gonna take that off my board. It was
Yeah,
on my board.
That's my
That's the number one candy.
Yes, and I've
Peanut M&Ms.
this would be my like desert island if I could bring one thing.
Why not peanut
Because
butter M&Ms?
oh no, no, mm-mm.
That's the same thing
No,
as like
it's
a Reese's
not.
Pieces, basically.
No, that's like saying tomatoes are the same thing as ketchup. That's not the same thing. No. So
Mm-hmm.
I would take them because they're everything. They've got like salty, sweet, crunchy,
Don't you
soft,
tell me protein.
chocolatey. There is protein. The peanuts are protein. I like a little
It's
bit
a
of
protein
everything.
snack?
Well, I guess there were probably smarter things to take if you were going to be stranded on a desert island than
Yeah.
peanut M&Ms. But if it had to be a candy,
Mm-hmm.
that I stand by it. That's the
Okay.
candy I would choose.
Okay, well then I'm gonna take the superior candy of Reese's Cups.
That was my number
But I
2.
prefer the trees or the pumpkins because I prefer that ratio. So I'm gonna take everything in that category from cups to trees to pumpkins.
Disrespectful.
So that's on my list.
Those
All
are
right,
so good.
you get to go next.
Why don't you just take the trees and pumpkins and stuff? Because
Oh no,
that's the wrong
that is the
answer.
perfect ratio of peanut
I
butter to
know, and then I'll
chocolate.
just keep the cup.
No, 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 no. I claim the whole thing.
Rude.
Anything Reese's related,
Oh,
I
well, then you
claim.
know what I'm gonna take from you?
Huh.
I'm gonna take Snickers.
Well, that's rude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know that's okay.
Right in
Fine. Let me put your name right here.
my trick-or-treating bag.
Fine. Then I will take Kit Kat next.
That's my next one on the list. That's so mean. You're just doing this to upset me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a fun fact, Matt plays golf.
Uh-huh.
Matt, when he's not dressed as Stella. I'm having a hard time
It's
taking
in
it
my
seriously myself. Yeah, the
I'm
beard
listening.
the beard hair.
Mm-hmm.
Matt plays golf. He's played since high school.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite things to do is go ride around in the cart with him. And I like to look for golf balls that people have lost.
Mhm.
It's like an
Mhm.
Easter egg hunt. But it's so fun to be outside. And every time when we get to
Make the turn, baby.
first 9 and we make the turn for the back 9, we always
We have
split
to
a
have a
Snickers
Snickers.
bar. And
Always.
that's our favorite.
Keeps me going. Keeps
Yeah.
me going. Okay, fine, fine. Is it my turn
It's
again?
my turn.
I'll
You
go
said
next.
Kit Kat.
I will take.
No. Okay, you know what you didn't claim? You didn't claim Reese's Pieces.
I said all of Reese's.
No,
You can't
you
have that.
said all of the
You can
cups.
have Reese's Pieces. Those are gross anyway.
Okay, good.
Reese's Pieces are the worst.
Reese's
Ugh.
Pieces.
No,
At least I got
there's so many better options to fulfill that thing. You talk about peanut butter, you got Reese's Cups, you've got the trees, you've got all that kind of stuff. You talk about like small candies, you've got M&Ms, like regular M&Ms, chocolates.
but the taste of the
No.
peanut butter, that like fake peanut butter
Mm.
stuff is so good. They have just
Fine.
the perfect like, when you bite into them, it's perfect.
Okay. I've got one.
I picked 3.
So it's my third pick.
Yeah.
And with my third pick, I'm going to take Hershey's with almonds. With my third pick.
Did you peek at my list? That is literally the next thing on my list.
What?
Specifically with almonds.
What?
That is so disrespectful.
That's really weird that you would do that. Okay. Well, that's mine now. It's in my bag.
I'm worried now that you looked at my list while I took Stella outside a minute ago. I even covered it with another piece of paper while I was gone.
What do you mean?
I feel like you cheated on the test.
Darling, never.
Okay, well then I'm gonna do a crazy one that is a little less known, but it was my granny's favorite and I love it. You know, I did notice everything on here is chocolate. I didn't do any kind of like fruity candies of any kind. I like my chocolate candies.
Yeah.
Mr. Goodbar. If you're gonna take
Which
the
one's
Hershey's
that?
with
Is that the peanut
almonds,
butter one
yeah,
or
no,
the
it's
peanut
milk
one?
chocolate with peanut. pieces in it.
Mr. Goodbar.
It's like the Hershey's with almond, but it's peanuts.
Mr. Goodbar.
You know, they're the little yellow ones when you get the ones that have like the Nestle Crunch and the Hershey's.
That's a bad call. That's a really bad call. That's not even. That's not a top 20 candy.
Granny is tisking down you from heaven.
If you want to go like second, third tier, you're looking at like $100,000. Like that's delicious. Anyway, my next pick, you can have that for 100%. To mix it up, my actual favorite candy bar.
I was gonna say you haven't even picked it yet. I didn't even try to take it from you, and I should have because you're being mean.
I'm gonna take it right now. I'm gonna take Three Musketeers, which is the best candy bar possible.
That's been his favorite as long as I've known him. Is this my last one?
Yes.
I have to pick between my last three. This is tough. Can I tell you what they are, and then I'll tell you my choice so that you still get to hear what my final three are?
Yeah, I already know what mine is.
Okay.
I know what my last one is.
So my last three are Whoppers.
Okay.
And I would like to also include
Whoppers are delicious.
The way you said was Reese's. I would also include Robin eggs if I chose that. The ones because those are Whoppers.
No. I said Reese's cups, okay? And I'm just meant like the cups. Like it's the same thing in a different shape.
It says
that's
Whoppers,
not the same thing.
Robin eggs. That is literally what they are called. So if I choose that, I get to include Robin eggs that come out.
What are your other two choices?
The other two, one of them is a fun one from my favorite from childhood. Sixlets. There's little bags of little balls, little pea-looking things. Oh, you had sixlets on
Mostly just to take it from you because I knew you were going to say it.
Rude.
Okay, sixlets are not pretty.
And then I put Nestle Crunch as my last one. It's a good one. When you have that
that's a solid one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I think you go with Whoppers flat.
Yeah.
You can't have Robin egg. I'm not going to give you the Robin.
This is my game. I can do it.
Or you can just have the Robin eggs.
No, I'm doing Whoppers and Robin eggs.
No.
They are Whoppers brand. Yes. That's my last one. Whoppers and Robin eggs with Sixlets and Nestle Crunches are close. And then you took all my other ones on my list. So what was your last one?
My last one, I need to switch it up and get a little something different. I'm going with Junior Mints. Junior Mints are so good.
I didn't even think of that.
That's actually my movie time.
Yeah. Does Puppy Chow count?
Nope, not a candy.
Oh,
okay, so let's check the bags.
Similar.
What do you got?
So my bag is peanut M&Ms, obviously. Snickers, Reese's Pieces, Mr. Goodbar, and all the Whoppers.
I give it like a 6 out of 10. I'm sorry.
Funny. I don't remember asking.
6 out of 10. Let me give you the real list. Reese's Cups and trees and pumpkins.
Just the cups.
And then also you get Hershey's with almonds. So that's great because you get almonds, or you could just pick around it and have just the Hershey's.
Yeah, that's solid.
And then Kit Kat. Are you kidding me?
That's a good one, especially when they're cold.
Come on.
Especially when they're cold.
And then my favorite, the Three Musketeers. And then lastly, the Junior Mints. And I would give that like a 12 out of 10. So I actually doubled your score in this game.
Interesting when you were keeping the score.
Interesting.
That's how golf goes too.
Interesting. So I win. Right?
As always.
As always.
Yes. So the guy fist pumping dressed as his dog right now.
Well, we didn't talk about
certainly
what I win. You know what I mean?
I didn't agree that your list is better than mine. So you messed up.
I'll get back to you, Internet, with what I won.
Yeah, I can't take you seriously right now.
You don't like costume?
Let's get to something more serious and more important, though. We're so excited to share with you our interview with author Lauren Okie, whose new book, The Best Worst Thing, came out October 14th.
Today we're talking to Lauren Okie, who writes the kind of romance that makes you feel everything. The messy, the beautiful bits, the heartbreak, the hope, and the hard truths in between. She studied English and American literature at NYU, works as a copywriter by day, and then she's adding published author to her resume with her debut novel, The Best Worst Thing, out from Avon Books. She lives in Los Angeles now with her husband and daughter, and though she's originally from Miami, she's been pretty open about her tell the truth, be brave approach to writing, which makes total sense after you read the work. And one of my favorite details about her process is that she sometimes likes to block out her sex scenes on the backs of grocery lists. That sounds like dedication and multitasking to me. But Lauren Okie, welcome so much to the podcast in our next chapter.
Hey,
welcome.
Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. Oh my gosh, we're so excited. You know a little bit about us. We're kind of writing our first book. And I would love to hear about your background and how you've kind of moved from, your time at NYU and then through your career and into like, you know what, I'm writing this book. Let's do it.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's like going way back, like little girl.
Yes.
This is what I had always wanted to do. I wanted to write books. I think that when you develop that dream, like obviously because you're a child, you don't completely understand. Like, oh, like the barrier to entry
Mhm,
is
mhm.
enormous. Oh, it's really hard work. Like you just like, I want a book on the shelf. You
Yep.
also don't understand like once your book's on the shelf, like, well, how many more will they let you publish? Like, right? You have no understanding of the dream. It just is like a dream. And so that was the dream. But I was not like a particularly I was not a high achieving student at all. When I was young, I had ADHD and this was like in the 90s and schools were just like
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
equipped
Yep.
to
Oh, yeah.
handle this. And I think like my parents did a great job, but like the bottom line is that like every minute I spent at school was excruciatingly difficult for me because I
Mm.
like could not
Mm.
sit still. And
Mhm.
like I did not want to do the homework and was not like engaged in the lessons. And so I would come home and sort of create things, like ignore my homework and make a puppet show or like try
Mm.
to film like commercials in my mirror. Like so I was always kind of a storyteller, but I really lacked
Yeah.
like traditional discipline.
Yeah.
And so I like moved through a lot of my years like as a child just being like thinking I was stupid because I didn't
Mm.
like succeed at school. And so and then I would like write stuff and it would be good, but then I would have to like go to a writing tutor because I couldn't complete like the worksheets at
Oh,
school. And
yeah.
so I kind
Yep.
of just like emerged as a teenager, like really confused because I would listen to music and like see color. Like weird things were happening where I was
Mhm.
like, I feel like, or I would like hear beats in like an essay I was writing. And I was like, is this happening to
Yep.
everyone or
Mhm.
not? But then I was
Right.
also hearing like, you're stupid. So I was like, okay, well, like, I don't
Right.
know
Yep.
what it is. And
Cognitive
so,
dissonance,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, I think like what happens is like, so I've got this I study literature in college. Like, I love books, but like the goal is not, but I'm like not really writing. And that's like the only way
Yeah.
that I can explain it. And it's like, and I don't know if it was like, if I was work averse or it was like the fear of scarcity that stopped
Mm.
me from being like, I want to be actively writing all the time. And I would start stories and not finish them. And like maybe it's
Mm.
just being like in your 20s and like being distracted or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, yeah.
But it just like doesn't happen for me. And in college, I'm like we figure out the learning stuff. I'm very successful in college. I do really well, but it's also like the
Good.
great. It's 2009 when I graduate, and there are just no jobs to be
Mhm.
had.
Mhm.
Yep.
Not creative ones, not regular ones, not
Yep.
retail ones. Like there's just nothing. And I moved to Los Angeles with my now husband, who I met in college in a colloquium on Chaucer. And we was really interested in food. So I started working in hospitality. And then I find myself getting like farther and farther away from writing. And there's like a piece of me that's really sad about it because
Mhm.
I keep being like, oh, in another life, I think I could have written a book. And it's just kind of like
Mm.
floating in
Yep.
my brain. And I think I was already resigned to this idea that I was not ever going to put in the work. And that even like leads me away from reading for a bit, where like the idea of going
Right.
into a bookstore
Sure.
and seeing all of these people who had bet on themselves and like dealing with the fact that I was not one of them and that like maybe just like going back to what I was talking about like in when I was growing up, which is like weird things are happening to me when I
Yep.
am interacting with words and I think there might be something special here. And then I had sort of made this decision because inaction is a decision to
Mhm.
do nothing
Absolutely.
about it in my 20s. And I
Yeah.
think there was like some shame that came
Mhm.
with
Oh, for
that.
sure.
And then
Mhm.
when I was kind of like forced out of my job in hospitality, I was also trying to get pregnant and that was not working out. And I like could
Yep.
not, was not really in a situation where I could enter a new job. Like I had some familiarity with like my bosses and colleagues when I was going through
Mhm.
fertility treatment in my existing job, and then that position no longer existed, and I
Yep.
didn't know how to re-enter the workforce, but like doing
Mm.
IVF, like and potentially
Yeah.
9 months away from motherhood, and so I started
Right.
doing some freelance business writing, just to
Mm.
like pay some bills.
Yeah.
And sort of realized that I could like charge in a few hours what I was making full time. And like it just
Yep.
like really
Oh,
worked
yeah.
for me. And then I got some projects that were long form writing and it started like I think the key story here is that like I got my butt in a seat and started
Mhm.
writing like
Mm.
6 to 8 hours a day And then like the years go by, I did this long form writing project and I was like, your butt's already in the seat. Why don't you use the extra hours to start telling a story?
Wow.
And I like there is more that happened. Like I have my daughter via surrogate. It was this crazy experience. I kind of knew there was a story there. I had originally thought maybe it was nonfiction, but I had a very supportive husband and a happy ending. And I was just like, it kind of turned into an essay. But I remember thinking, like, what if my husband was not who I thought he was? Like,
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely.
but it was already too late. Right. And I think, and that was sort of this like scraping idea I had for this story, which was like, oh, like, could I port this experience, which I think is really interesting, but is not something I want to write about for 400 pages, but could it be my character's backstory? Like, could I use it in this way? And then like, and what does it look like for a woman who, and this is like not a spoiler, but like in the best worst thing, this is like this is back in the book stuff. Like, her body has betrayed her and her husband has betrayed her. And like, how do you re-enter? How do you fall in love again in your 30s with that, like still on your skin? And this is that story.
Wow.
And it was such a pleasure to use that experience in this way, which is, sort of different than just like straight up, but like kind of through the lens of like a woman who's trying to figure her stuff out a second time.
I feel like your personal story and the success that you're seeing is making me surprisingly emotional right now, because we're kind of, on our side, we're kind of going through something very similar with one of our children, where it's the same thing. They're brilliant, but they can't sit still in school, and so it's like the normal way of teaching them. It just doesn't work. The structure of it just doesn't work for him.
Yeah.
And so I love to see that you've pulled it all together, that you've made a wonderful book, and now you're an author and found your way. Like,
this
it's
like journey
fantastic.
to writing being born out of those experiences and the love of storytelling and the creativity that you were, like you said, I ignored the homework, but I created something,
created stuff.
and like
I was doing something.
And coming to terms with accepting your brain as it was and realizing, man, there are superpowers in this. There are things happening in my brain that aren't happening for everybody. And that's actually giving me a leg up in some ways if I just find the ways to fine tune this to make it work for me. So yeah, I totally agree. Really just beautiful. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that
I'm
pathway and that
incapable of not being
story.
vulnerable. I'm like such an overshare.
We love it. That is the theme of our podcast.
That is it. We are overshares.
And I sort of think, and this is interesting. I'm going to get so off topic. You guys are going to get nothing done.
No, that's what it's like all about.
That's the whole point.
The night before the book came out, and like I am such an open person, and I kind of always have been. And I think part of that is like the neurodivergence, where it's just like, oh, I'm so desperate for human connection that I'll just like kind of offer anything, and then it's over, and I'm like, what have I done, right? And I think like that is and I'm wanting to lean into it because like very rarely does it end poorly for me. Right. And I'm like, oh, like for every 10 connections I attempt, like 8 of them end up being really special. And maybe one person is like, that person's too much. But like, what about the other 8 magical things I've just achieved? Right. And I think that's really cool. But I remember thinking the night before the book came out, I suddenly felt like and it was sort of the first time that I had really felt it, where I felt for a moment really overexposed. Because like this story is deeply personal, and I had not expected it because everything had been fine until then, and it was just this blink where I was just like, I sort of want to get under the covers. And I think part of it is that like until publication day, the release of the story is like it's tempered and it's tapered. So I write it. I have a friend who's maybe alpha reading. I'm sending her scenes. Then I invite, the first draft is done. I'm working on the second. I have my husband start reading. I have my father-in-law, who is a TV writer. He is reading. I have some people who understand like either me or like the journey of storytelling and how some things are messy and some things are tight. Okay. And then then it's like a year goes by, I'm making the story better. And then it's like, okay, I am showing, third draft. I have a couple friends reading. It's ready. I'm querying agents. That is terrifying, but it's still one person. So I think it's terrifying on a professional level. Like, okay, I'm going to find out whether this is something. And I think that is terrifying, but I did not feel vulnerable. I just felt anxious, you know, and I think, and then the book goes out on submission. Again, that is anxious about not being able to sell the book, not about sharing my story with 25 acquisition editors that's not 25 people. It's, you know what I mean? 15 people. It is what it is. I can manage 15 people reading my work. I've written work that's been on billboards or something, you know what I mean? I can handle this. And then, went out to ARC readers, like when I went on Neck Alley and stuff. And there was part of me that was like, okay, but it didn't feel like the same, because I was like, okay, I wanted people to love the book.
Yeah.
But it was not like overexposure. I just wanted the reception to be good. And I didn't know what that was going to be. And then like the reception, I don't know, because I live in a silo, because I have blocked the websites where people review my books, and I only see what I'm tagged on Instagram. And so most people like love it, because people are kind online and don't tag you when they hate your book, you know, hopefully. And and
hopefully not.
Then but like the night before, I suddenly realized that like there would be no more curating of the audience of my book, that anybody who wanted could now go pick it up off a shelf, or check it out of their library, or listen to it on Spotify, and then be like, you suck, right?
Yeah,
or like
anybody who wants to pick your baby up from the from the
like
daycare.
You said too much. Like, what's wrong with you?
Interesting.
You know, you did, and it was brief, and it's not really the way I feel. It was just this like 10-minute experience, and I think of just being like, and I literally think, when I'm looking back at it now, it was like 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I think my skin got thicker. Like, and I think I was cognizant of that process, and it was very weird to just be like, okay, 10 minutes under the covers, and then being like, okay, let's do this. Whatever.
Okay. And
right.
just keep
But
going,
it was like
whatever.
to be present in that process was very, very strange. And I think like, and then I mentioned it to a few author friends, and they're like, yes, canon event. Like canon event, to realize that like there's now no barrier to like your most vulnerable thing.
Yeah. So what I was thinking too is it's so helpful, one, like you said, to have those other author friends that talk about that. Yes, this is a canon event. That's something that kind of keeps happening to us in this process, where there's times where we think that maybe we're doing something wrong, or we've gotten off track, and then, you know, we'll hear other authors talk about it. Like, for example, the characters in our first novel, we started with them one way, and then they kind of have become more like us. Seeing it in your face, you're like, yep. And we were like, are we doing something wrong? Like, we're writing ourselves essentially, and that wasn't our intention. And then so many authors have said that over time. And so, like you said, just having that moment.
Especially with the first one.
Oh, absolutely. And I was curious too, do you feel like there was an element of, to this point, it had been your choice to write about this very personal experience, and you, like you said, you got to curate it in a certain way, of that suddenly, like the story, the narrative goes beyond you, and like you said, it's you've been
holding getting this thing, and you release it. Yeah.
Was there a sense of that the story could morph or change or become something different, that people could read it and experience it differently than you intended, or, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I think that that's an interesting question, because like the way that I write is like, I don't like to spoon feed the experience. So I think I actually hold back more interiority than is like the standard in the romance novel, especially in the first half, because I like to observe. Part of that is I like a third person narration, which is like I'm scene setting, and I'm giving you less information than you actually need at the time to understand what's going on, and then we will build on that, and you're going to be kind of puzzling, and like that. I really enjoy writing this way. I find it to be really rewarding and rich and engaging for the reader. But when you are not writing like a diary style romance, you do lose control of the narrative, because you are allowing the reader to like bring to the table their opinion and their experiences, because it is not Nicole telling us in every decision she makes, like, I'm doing this because I feel this way about Gabe. I feel this way about Logan. I know I'm a bad person. I don't like, listen to me. And she doesn't get to do that, except for when her back's against the wall in dialogue, you know, and maybe every once in a while through interiority. And I think it is a storytelling choice, and it also allows, you know, readers to bring their own experiences to the book. And I think that again, it's like what we talked about with like the overshare and scare dynamic or whatever, which is like, I think there is a version of this book that is less vulnerable and probably more clear.
Mm.
And I think it would have been just fine. And I think, but I think fewer people would love it, right? Like,
Mm.
even if
It's
it was like a
interesting.
safer book. And
Yeah.
I think that with like the, it goes back to like the tell the truth, be brave thing, but it's like, oh, when you allow people to be like really flawed and nuanced and not always explain themselves and like kind of leave it to the reader to just feel like this was a human thing to do, I understand.
I was going to say, like, have you talked to any of your closer friends or family and they read it and go, oh, I feel like I know more about you. Like they feel like they're more connected to you.
So one of the things that's interesting, and I think so, yes, and it's like what we talked about, it's like, well, I am not Nicole. You
Right.
know, like Nicole and I have a
Sure.
lot in common, but I'm not Nicole. First of all, I'm a mess. So I'm really more of a Logan. I'm a Logan with a Nicole problem. But I think the thing too is like I'm the narrator. And
Yeah.
and, and I think like so that third person narrator is me.
Yeah.
Like I'm telling you this story and I have a lot of firsthand knowledge about this
Yep.
pain. And I
Yep.
relate to Nicole on a deeply personal level and I understand her intimately. But I think of Nicole as like a dear friend. Like it's not even like a friend.
Mm.
I have a lot of love for this woman.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
and part of it is because I feel like I have cut her open, right? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
I know her
Absolutely.
intimately. And it is a special feeling, and I have it for the two protagonists in my
Mm.
second novel as well. And it's like to know the worst thing about somebody and then like help them fight for love anyway or whatever. It's like a deeply intimate experience. It's like also not an
Wow.
answer to your question,
No, I love
No,
which I
it's
it.
no longer
interesting.
remember.
It's
But
so
yeah,
real.
It's
Like
very
it's
real.
like you said, you're so deeply connected, and
Mm-hmm.
this comes from the most honest parts of you. And I think
Yeah.
that's what so many readers are going to connect as they pick this up and find it is just really resonating with that emotional honesty. And like you said, there might have been another version of this book, but this one is so emotionally honest and is going to connect with people. I was curious if you'd talk a little
Yeah.
bit about the tell the truth, be brave
Yeah.
origin.
yeah. So that is from a recap, probably like a BuzzFeed recap of Stephen King's On Writing, which is a
Mm-hmm.
craft book, a beloved craft book that I read between first and second drafts. So in On Writing, Stephen King says he recommends a first draft sit in a drawer for 6 weeks
Mm.
so that you can be objective about
Critical
how bad
distance.
it
Yeah.
is when you pull it out. And so I was desperate to succeed and kind of there was so much advice and I was just like, I will take this piece. And during that time, I read a zillion. I read multiple craft books and probably about 20 novels during that time, just like absorbing,
Mm-hmm.
absorbing, absorbing. And also I had written the first draft of the best worst thing in such a manic state that I almost needed to be consuming books
Yeah.
constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise I knew I was going to go back to the draft. I wasn't able to stay away from the story.
Yeah.
And there's a thing in there where he's like giving writing advice and he's like, what it's like the first question that most people ask is like, what should I write about? And he's like, the answer is
Mm.
pretty much anything you want as so long as it's interesting. And then he kind of goes into this thing about like essentially tell the truth, be brave. Like if you feel something, if your character feels something, like you have a mandate to put that on the page. Don't lie to your reader.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
I think what happened is, and this is kind of a two-pronged question, or two-pronged answer to one question that you didn't ask, is I did not totally realize that I was doing this.
Yeah.
I just had these experiences that were raw and somewhat unprocessed, and I'm sort of a glib person, and that is kind of my writing voice.
Mm.
And so I would write things, and then I would be like, "Oh, like okay, like that was intense," and then there would be this like little part of me that's like, "Soften it, clean it, take it out."
Mm, yeah.
Softer, softer, romance, softer, right? And I was like, no. no.
Yeah.
Like I would try to remove it, and like
Yeah.
then the scene would just be like flat or not special. And Nicole is such a wounded character, and she makes so many mistakes, and like we need to see like the things that hurt her and like her visceral
Mm-hmm.
responses to that in order to
Right.
like show her any grace as she like fumbles through 400 pages of this book. And so I think that
Yeah.
the mistakes serve her. And I think like the question that you didn't ask that is related to this is when people have asked me about like, oh, that the infertility representation in this book is so good or is so carefully done. And I remember getting this
Mm-hmm.
feedback. And this was the thing I was most concerned about when the book went out, was that people would think that the infertility rep was like too graphic or had not been censored enough. And so it was almost like in poor taste or
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Yeah.
And so when I started getting these reviews, like tagged in these reviews on Instagram, where people were like, oh, like the representation here is beautifully done, or like this is handled with care. And I was like, it's weird because as a Glim person, I was not convinced that was the feedback I would get. I thought people would be like, it was handled without care, like jokes were made of it or whatever. And it sort of occurred to me that people were responding to authentic representation. And like, that's what made it
Yes.
beautiful, was that it had not been sugar coated, right? It's like, oh,
Right.
you want to know what it feels like? This is what it feels like. Like, you want to know why your sister-in-law won't come to your baby shower? It's because she feels like this, right? It's because she thinks
Yep.
she's going to die if she doesn't have this baby, right? And I think it's like, oh, like to do that was, like, I don't think I realized that it was like a brave thing to do, because I was like, this is just the truth, you know. But
Yeah,
I
you were
Yeah.
think
just
Yeah.
telling
now
your
I'm like,
story. Yeah.
yeah, that like it means something to people. And that like, oh, like when we talk about representation, like the best thing that we can do is just like not sugarcoat it, you know? And I
Yeah.
think it
Absolutely.
does go back to being like that point of vulnerability I had of being like, well, now everyone knows exactly how I feel about
Yeah.
everything, right?
And
Right.
Because it's all in
do
the
you
book. And I think there's some exposure in there, but I think it's worth it.
do you feel like there's a difference between honesty and oversharing? You know, like because your writing style is really interesting to me. I love it. Like I said, everything you're saying is absolutely what I got from the book.
Yep.
And the honesty. And I never felt like the book was oversharing. I felt it was honest. But that's a tough line to walk, I'm sure, as the writer on the other side.
How did you toe
Yeah,
that?
I think, and Stephen King talks about this too, which is that just because like my preoccupations as a human are going to invariably bleed onto the page.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is my job as a professional to remove
Yes.
them.
Yep.
So like excess, I think is the problem with telling the truth,
Yeah.
which is like, well, how much graphic explanation of this
Right.
trauma? At what point does it no longer serve the story? Are we
Yep.
still learning
Right.
something new every time it's broached? Like, right, is
Yep.
it in the way? Is it overly morose or whatever? And so I think part of that is just like the editing process
Yeah.
of being like, oversharing is the same thing as overwriting, which is like, and it can happen with anything. Like I watch baseball, and so like when I first started writing, I would find myself providing additional information that was well
Mm,
written and irrelevant because I knew it, right? And I
yeah.
think like that is more of it goes for everything. It goes for oversharing and it goes for
Yep.
overwriting, which is like, hey, this is not part of the story, get it out. You don't always
Yeah.
know that in the first
And
draft. It's a
I
pacing
was going to
thing.
say, I feel like that a lot of the times as me personally, as an ADHD monster, I always have the extra thought to add on top of the last thought.
Right.
And so
This is why M dashes are
this
so
is why
important.
M dashes are so
I
important to
love an
me.
M dash. I'm going to go off screen and find you a book real quick.
Yeah.
On my
Yes.
handy. This book, Refused to Be Done by Matt Bell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a craft book. He is a literary fiction author. This is basically how to write a book in 3 drafts, and it's pretty open-ended because he writes lit fic. The first draft is like no outline, vibes, go, and the second one is good,
Wow.
but the third is excellent. There's advice. I picked this up for my 3rd draft. That is about cutting excess words. That is about putting every phrase on trial for its life. Do you need that extra clause? Do you need this? Do you need that?
Yes.
Polish, like put your scenes to sleep. And he does talk a lot in drafts 2 and 3 about making those cuts, about being like, this the 3rd paragraph, the 4th paragraph of you describing this thing, is it adding to the story? Can your story exist without it? And if your story can exist without it, it
That's
must
great.
go. And I
That's
really,
fantastic.
the first draft of the best worst thing was like 86K or whatever. The second was 113,000 words, which is too long for a
Wow.
contemporary
Yeah.
romance.
Wow.
I got
Yeah.
it back down when querying to 98,000. There were no excess scenes, so I did not cut any
Wow.
chapters. So this was all
Yeah.
like
That's cool.
paragraph by paragraph, line by line, and then word by word that I consolidated the story to make sure that there were not things happening twice unless they needed to happen twice for a reason, like with growth or to show change or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, these craft books changed. Like they changed
Yeah.
my life.
Love
I have
that.
5 or 6 of them. And they are not romance specific craft books. And I think that that is really helpful if you're reading a lot of romance, like,
Yeah.
because I mean, some of this stuff will not apply if you're writing romance, but I think it helped me, like, instead of being like, I want to sound like my peers, being like, I want to sound like
Right.
the best version of me that I
Yes.
can. And
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
by not over relying on reading my peers and instead focusing on what, like, my own tools and my own voice, that really helped me stand out in like a really saturated marketplace, you know?
Yeah, and I think I love the idea too. We talked before about like the shitty first draft of like the first draft's only like purpose is to exist. I hadn't thought about what is the purpose of a second or third draft. So I
Right.
love, thank you for sharing that book,
Yes.
because I like, now it helps in my head to have an idea of, okay, we just need to get this first draft written so it can exist. And then the second draft is about something else. And the third, like you said, is about
It's like
cutting the
cut
excess
and then polish, like
yeah,
following the
Yeah.
like,
process.
I like the idea that each revision, each draft has its own
Yeah.
purpose, and I
Right.
think that's really
That's really
incredible.
And I
awesome.
think
And
he
I think,
says, like,
sorry,
the first draft is about like discovery, and the second draft is like sculpting and structure and beats.
Mm,
And the
Yep.
third is like fix all the things you didn't
Yep.
get right the second time. There will be
Yep.
some.
yep.
And then make it gorgeous, right? And it's
I
like,
love
and
it.
also for me, the second draft is, for at least for book 1, it's 10,000 drafts. It's like
Mhm.
until I'm satisfied with the story,
Yep.
right? And then
Yep.
the
Yep.
third draft is like, let's zoom out, take a look, and make it perfect, you know?
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
Very cool.
And I think too, just kind of going back to what you were talking about with the honesty, vulnerability of like when you were kind of talking about between honesty and oversharing and just this very deeply personal story to you, we've talked about how romance has evolved and to include so many real life topics and
Right.
heavy things and things that people are truly struggling with, but you still have that guaranteed happy ever after. That helps the anxiety piece of it is like, okay, this is going to be okay. And it
It'll
gives
all
me
be
hope for
okay.
myself and my own struggles because we're incorporating these things. And
Mhm.
so I'd love to transition to specifically talk a little bit about the best worst thing.
Yeah, let's give a little.
Just to see first. So I know you've talked a little bit about the
I'm gonna show you.
synopsis
You guys
of
have
it,
the
but
book? Oh,
no,
I'm
we
sure you are.
don't. We have the E version. We
Have the
have
E version.
Here's the book.
Yes.
There it
Okay.
is. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's
Beautiful.
it.
It is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's it.
lift it up just a
Love
little
it.
bit so we can get the whole
Yeah.
thing. There it
And
is.
from the advertising
Yeah.
side too, I saw how you the blue, the yellow evolved, the color of the yellow, and
Yeah.
just
Cool.
like the throughout the process and things. But I was gonna ask first, will you just give a brief
Yeah.
synopsis or overview of the story?
Sure.
We've talked a little about
I'll give
these
you my pitch I've
characters
been working
and
on.
yeah,
Yes.
okay,
So this is the book. Hopefully it's high enough. I can't see my own
beautiful.
face.
Yeah.
The best worst thing is a love story about a woman in her 30s. She's 32. Her name is Nicole, and her marriage is a mess, and she's feeling really distant in it. And she is convinced that the problem is that she cannot get pregnant, and that it is making her depressed and crazy and emotional. And so she hosts this podcast that's dedicated to it. She transfers an embryo to her gestational carrier across the country for the third time, only to discover that night that her husband is having an affair. And so, in this kind of drunken reaction, she gets wasted with her best friend and former colleague, who also worked with this man named Logan. And Mari, the friend, convinces Nicole to show up on his doorstep just to get her, ex-husband out of her system or just to do something crazy for herself.
Yeah.
And Mari does not know the extent of Nicole and Logan's kind of complicated, like, simmering relationship. And so she shows up at his door, and it just unleashes this chain of events that Nicole cannot put a stop to. And so this book is their love story, But Nicole's surrogate does get pregnant. And so she's not able to cleanly sever ties with this first chapter of her life. And so she must learn to fall in love with Logan while preparing for motherhood and dealing with the fallout of a marriage that she chose to stay in. That is a big old mess. And while that happens, she also, or we go back in time to explore all of the moments that she could have changed her life through a previous timeline with Logan. And I think those are very relatable if you like Jim and Pam from The Office. There's a whole bunch of mess there and a lot of fun, and increasingly less fun flashbacks between them, but I think really, really human. And then there is also, the central part of the story. And I say, we talk so much about infertility, so I do want to say this. This is a love story first. This is a love story about a woman whose life is on fire. And this is a love story about starting over in your 30s. But Logan is a fantastic, playful golden retriever of a character, and he takes Nicole on this journey of play. They play. He's a goofy guy. And that stuff, I think, rewires her brain. So having a good time with this man helps her process her trauma and see herself and her world in a new way. And it is a really beautiful, special and hopeful relationship that is, I think, a bright spot in this kind of sad story. And if you like The Wedding People last year, and we're I want this, but more romance, I'd say this book is a mashup of The Wedding People and Nobody Wants This on Netflix with Jim and Pam
Love that
undertones.
too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. You're spot. I mean,
reading it
it's
together.
awesome. We've been reading it together, and I just this idea of this messy life and her rediscovering herself through Logan and her experiences with him and realizing what's possible was just kind of eye opening and a fun journey to follow with them. One of the things that I did want to talk to you about specifically was about how open door romance, especially in the book, is a piece of it. How that can be a character developing tool for you in these folks.
It's my favorite topic.
We love it. We love it too.
First of all, I think that the initial disclaimer is that sex is fun. So it is fun to write. It is fun to read about. These books are not
I wouldn't
selling.
Know, so,
These books are not selling, 50 million, whatever. Not my personal book, but romance is not keeping publishing houses alive because, it's happening for a zillion reasons. But sex is fun, and especially sex that is safe because these people love each other, right? And it's and so I think it is really, really fun to want and be wanted, and we get that payoff in spades in romance novels and contemporary romance novels especially. So I think there is that, but I also think for me as an open door writer, there's also a contract with the reader that you're gonna get it all, right? That you are entering a world that is none of your business. And that nothing should be off the table, and that is the way that I write. And so I think for me that to drag you through all of this mess and then close the door on you would be a disservice to your understanding of these characters, especially Nicole, who is reeling from these dual betrayals, right? From her partner that she's been intimate with and from her body, which she desperately wants, she cannot carry a child, right? And so her body has let her down. And so, her idea of intimacy and her idea of what her body can and cannot do is upside down when the story begins.
Absolutely.
And so to me, sex, open door the whole time, being present the whole time, watching her trust a man again, and is one of the most important aspects of this book. And because sex becomes something that is for her and her partner again, it has nothing to do with making a child. It has nothing to do, it's not planned, there's no goal, there's no whatever. This is about intimacy, this is about feeling good and making your partner feel good. It is just, it is special and it is new and it is different and it is and it is part of her arc. And I think people are so vulnerable when they're falling in love, And
Mhm.
like to me also, like the whole book and especially the flashbacks to me are like kind of this like intimacy foreplay of being like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
these people have this
Yes.
connection, what are they capable of? And we see the payoff of that a lot, but I think we especially see it like, and especially in like a friends to lovers situation
Right.
Yes.
where
Right.
it's like, okay, well, like how do they become lovers and like what does that look like, and how are their Emily Henry does this wonderfully in people we meet on vacation. I love it when
Mhm.
characters
I do
like
too.
fall
I
into
love
an
that.
accidental, like an accidental
Yes.
joke, like when
Yes.
they're like literally, I don't know how graphic we can be on this place, but like things
Very,
are
very
happening,
all of the above. Yes.
and someone makes a joke and it's such a character driven joke, and I think that's so special because I have a lot of opinions on sex, and I think the biggest ask in a romance novel, like the hurdle we all have to clear is, do you want to keep reading after they bang?
Right.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if we
Right.
lose you after they consummate,
Right.
the relationship, that is a
Yeah.
huge problem. It means that
Yeah.
I have not created like a compelling enough
Yep.
world for you to care now that
Right.
Absolutely.
For you
everyone
to
has
keep
gotten
going.
off. And it's a
Mhm.
huge problem. And I think it's also one of the reasons why I'm such a big believer in like the scene after
Yes.
sex,
Oh yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
like the most human thing about sex anyway. Like you can think about like intimacy with your partner and it's like, okay, you were just insane and okay, like
Right,
insane things
right.
just
You
Yes.
just
happen.
did
Yeah.
these
But then
things.
it's so
Yes.
much of being like, oh, ice cream, like, oh, do you want to watch the
Yeah.
show, like, oh, do you like,
Yeah.
and it's like
Yes.
that
Yep.
return, like as
Transitioning
you
back to
come
real
down
life.
from being
Yeah.
an
Yes.
animal and you're like, okay, I
Yeah.
am me and you are you, and like and that closeness, and I think it's really
Yeah.
really relatable, and I think that
Mm,
all of those things are like are big components for the way that I write romance. Is like I just
I
want to
love that.
see
Absolutely.
every aspect of a human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was such a beautiful way to get to know her and see her evolve as
Right.
she experiences this different kind of intimacy and romance. And but like you said, it's about trust, and that's just it.
After her body has betrayed her and she's trying
Yeah.
to figure out
Yeah, and
the
sex
body
has
issues.
evolved to become about one
One
thing.
thing. And
There was a desired
it wasn't
outcome that
connection. It wasn't.
right.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
No, that's really beautiful. And
Yeah. Let's keep on moving here. I actually have a game for you because I just want to. We're so open and honest here that I think that's part of like making me want to transition to our game so much. We
Let's
have a
play the
game
game.
for you if you're down. It's called "Tell the Truth, Be Brave," based after what we've been talking about with Stephen King and his whole
Based after
thing.
whatever BuzzFeed article recapped
Yes,
his
yeah, yeah.
words.
There you
They
go.
did it in such
Exactly.
a way.
Little
Yes.
on writing.
I
I
know.
love it.
Yeah.
So I've got 3.5, 4 questions for you, and
3.5.
they're gonna say they're tough in quotes. They're we're looking for honesty, or just have fun and be silly is fine too. But what is a belief you had about how romance should go that this writing this book made you question?
Think about this for a second.
Yeah,
Made
think
me
about it.
question. Okay. Structure of a romance novel, I think
mm,
was the big one.
Okay.
Which is like I Googled like how to write a romance novel, as one
right.
does
Yes.
upon wishing to write a romance novel, and there were all of these rules, and I was just like, no. So I think part of it was for me is being like, oh, I think that like we can write our own beats to these
Mhm.
stories
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
we're following the truth, if we're willing to do the
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
Um so like I could chase an ending and anything I wanted could happen
Yeah.
within
Yeah,
these
absolutely.
400 pages, as long as I'm delivering
Yeah.
on like on some of those feelings.
And I think that's the way you always master a skill, right? You learn the rules and you learn how to break them properly. And I think that makes a lot of sense, which kind of actually, it's funny because it goes into my second question I was going to ask, which was, what's a creative risk you took in writing this book that kind of made you nervous?
Okay. One is the mashup of infertility with
Mm,
romance, which is like I
Absolutely.
think it has been done. Abby Jimenez did it, Colleen Hoover did it. It has been done. It has been successful. It was Abby's debut, but it was not like it was not the plot did not revolve around the
Right.
right,
fallout of
right,
Right.
infertility.
right.
It
Yep.
was a character's wound. It was a character's reservation. And so this was sort of different to be like, this is in your face. This woman has lost babies. Like this woman is not the same as she
Right.
was before these
Mm-hmm.
events happened. And I think So I think that is answer A. And I think answer B is like the gray area of Nicole and Logan's working relationship,
Yeah.
which I
Oh,
think is
yeah.
really, really honest and really,
Mm-hmm.
and I think may make some people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think could have been edited out.
It's
Like
interesting.
they are good people. Like I will
Right.
say
Yeah.
that. Like I believe that Logan and Nicole are good people. Um,
I think there's a natural
feelings,
concept of
but
like
yeah,
Yeah.
work wife, work husband kind of like
and I
Yeah.
thing.
think so too. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that like, and I think that it's okay. But I also know that like it is not as clean as like your
Mm,
average meet cute. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that there
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit of fear there that
Yeah.
like that maybe people would not be
yeah, that's interesting.
sympathetic, you know. And then Taylor
Mm-hmm.
Swift graced us with the
Right.
Tortured Poets department,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
and everyone is obsessed with Guilty as Sin, and I'm like, I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She said it
Yeah,
was
you're all
fine.
good.
We're
You're in
She said it
fine,
good
was
you
fine.
company.
know.
Yeah, you're
Feelings
in
are
good
best.
company.
So
And like you said, it's a
excuse,
creative risk. It
yeah.
creates that little bit of
It's good.
nervousness, but it's gonna land
You
and
know, it's also
resonate.
just like,
And
oh, it's like, and I'm a big believer in this, and this is slightly off topic, but it's like I will do anything.
mm-hmm.
Like my like, and
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
my age is probably like,
Mm-hmm.
please don't do anything. But it's like, oh, I'm really interested in honest, raw people, and I'm really
Mm-hmm.
interested
mm,
in big stories, and we cannot have big stories without big mistakes. So,
Mm-hmm.
you
absolutely.
You have
know,
to
so
push
my
outside the
characters
comfort zones
yeah,
and
will
mm-hmm.
continue to do things that like your friends would do, and you would be like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you shouldn't have done that. And like, and there's
Yeah, no,
people make
you're
really
spot on.
interesting characters.
When
Yeah.
we were reading and we got to Mari, I was like, she is chaotic. Like
That's
this
the thing,
friend.
right? It's
I
like
mean, night
people
one that her marriage has imploded and she's like, let's get
Let's
drunk and go
go.
to this guy's house. And I'm like, wow, that's a
Ah,
friend.
that's a
Like that's
friend.
an interesting friend,
that's
you
an
know. So you
idea, right? It's
like
an
you said, it is.
objectively
It is, yeah.
crazy idea.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that if you create characters with belief systems, right? Mari is the kind of woman who's like, you should do something for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
F it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? And it's like,
Right.
oh, if you can build a friend like that, you can continue to bring that attitude into new scenes, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
push people into change.
And I loved that even when her sister Paige showed up, like she came a little more prepared. She had her little like goodie bag of treats and all the things, but even that had its own chaos. So I was like, I love these women that
I
she's
love it.
surrounded by, that are like leading her to this like new version of herself. I love that too. Just being surrounded by him.
Let me jump to the next question here. What was the hardest scene to write and how did you get through it?
Okay. The hardest scene to
Mm.
write actually is Nicole's reaction to Gabe's cheating.
Mm.
Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
needed it
Ugh,
to
I felt that in
be,
my stomach.
yeah,
Yeah.
I needed,
Yeah.
and that was not something I got right in the first draft. I I
Mm.
I I, I needed it to be character first, and I did not know her enough on page 15 of the
Mm-hmm.
first draft to
Yeah.
nail that. So I just was kind of like, this happened, and she did some cringe stuff and whatever, and like I needed to get to the story, get her to Logan's house.
Right.
That was the goal of
Right.
the
Mm-hmm,
setup, right?
mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how I was going to do it because I had such experience with the infertility. I sort of created a trap for myself of being like, okay, well, this is how you handle this. So then all of her other, you have raised the bar for how you handle her other trauma
Right.
because
Mm,
this is so accurate. But I'm like, I don't know. My husband of 6 years
Yeah.
has never screwed our
Right.
dog
yeah.
walker. So like I didn't
Right.
have
Yeah, I don't
that.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it was like I went to lunch with women like who had been cheated on. Like I found them like in my mommy group, like down here. Like
Oh,
right,
yeah.
I just talked to them about the way they felt. None of that felt right, but I was like just
Yeah.
gathering data.
Shared
I went
experience. Yeah.
onto like message boards where this had happened to women, and they just like poured out their soul like publicly,
Oh, yeah.
anonymously, and I would read that out. So I was just interpreting all of that, kind of waiting for this perfect
For it to
solution
come
to her
together.
reaction. And I imagine some of it fed it, but there was also when I got back to the second draft, I knew Nicole, like, and
So much
I knew
better.
her, like the back of my hand because I had been with
Yeah.
her for so much,
Wow.
Yeah.
and all of the backstory that's written into the book, and
Yeah.
I'd seen like her life change, you know, with Logan, those flashbacks in the background,
Yeah.
and And so I knew how she would react because I knew her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
And I
right,
really
'cause-
felt,
and then that was easier.
Oh, you nailed it. Yeah. Well, like you
That's-
said, once you got to know her, you really nailed it with how she responded. Because as I was reading and I knew that this was happening, I'm waiting to see what is her response. What is
There's
her
a lot
response?
of pressure.
And yeah, that was
because it's character building. Like that
Yeah.
is very character revealing.
yeah. You
Is how
nailed
you
that,
do
and
it.
it did. It just hit right.
Mhm.
You know, it's like that
Yeah,
emotional
and
blow.
Stephen
Yeah.
King writes really well about this and on writing also, which is like when the moments are really big, sometimes it's best to just get out quick. Like,
Mhm.
because if you have
Yeah.
built the
Yes.
heartbreak, like
Yes.
give us something and then just like end it with a banger and go, because
Yes.
we are
Yep.
we're bringing to the table our own experiences. So we're going to experience our own micro heartbreak, and like you do
Right.
not need to over curate that moment
Yes.
if you don't know what you're doing.
Mm.
Like enough is
Yeah. I like
enough,
that.
right? And it's
I
enough
like
to say
that.
that someone shatters. Like it's enough to say that someone
Right.
crumbles, right? And then a big
Mm.
sexy period, some white space is your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, last question in the game, which I need like a theme song, like tell the truth, be brave. I'm gonna work
I
on
know.
it.
Should
Yeah,
this be like
thanks.
your new shtick? Should this
There's
be?
the jingle. I know.
What if this
I
becomes
love
your new
it.
podcast and I have to sue you? And
That's
then
all
the
it is.
lawyer
Yeah,
is like,
100%.
"This you do not own this
Drama.
Oh yeah,
Reddit
that's
recap
good
on
drama.
writing."
No. And then we'll write a book.
And then we'll write a book about it. Last one, this one's not too tough, I guess. A hidden inspiration, a song, a movie, or maybe even another book. I know you've talked about a lot of the craft books you've read. Is there a
And your
song
personal piece.
or a
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
thing?
Okay, so there is a song that I this idea was banging around in my head, and then I heard the song "High" by Caitlin Smith.
Mm.
And there's a lyric in it where she's like, it's essentially she's still thinking about somebody and she doesn't know why it's making her feel this way, because
Mhm.
this chapter of her life
Mm.
is closed, and from time to time the idea of this person comes
Yeah.
back
Just
and it
creeps
makes her
back in.
feel really good, and it makes it and
Yeah.
it's really painful.
Yeah.
And it is a gorgeous song. She's a gorgeous singer-songwriter. I believe she has written for Taylor Swift. She's kind of like a country
Mm.
Okay.
singer-songwriter. Beautiful song, worth a listen. And it is almost a ballad, the song. It is really emotionally moving. It has like some Adele vibes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it just sort of was like, oh, I want to make something with this feeling. And so when we
Mm.
talk about like the infertility, all of it's like all of it is like
Yeah.
it's all big, but the big scraping question of this story has nothing to do with infertility. The big scraping question of the story to me is like, what if you had a connection and you had to let it pass you by?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
got a chance to explore it. And like,
Go
and
back
that
to
is
it.
the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
What a beautiful place
Awesome.
to start.
Yeah.
I know. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
so when you talk about that, when you talk about listening to the song, like what does a day of writing look like for you? You know, what is the vibe as you were working on this? And
This one
I
I
guess
just
just
worked on.
carrying all this.
Yeah. Do you put
This
the
one I
candles
just
on and the
Yeah.
music and
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I work like a crazy person, like coffee, Diet Coke, constant.
Yeah.
nice?
Just
Constant,
caffeine.
constant,
Just in
constant.
it.
Yeah.
Just in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just in it. And it has become harder and harder to stay in it. Like now that I'm juggling
Ooh.
multiple books
Multiple.
and like
Yeah.
the internet and all of that stuff versus like when you're
Yeah.
doing it alone. But we
Before
persist.
the world knows about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like, especially with the first book, I'm sure going through the editing process is its own interesting thing. Like, cause you write in a bubble. I say you write in a bubble, but like you're writing from your head to the computer. Like, what did that first kind of round of edits feel like? What did it look like? Were you surprised by any of that stuff?
Yeah, I think the edits were going to be light. Like I really thought that
Mm,
the story was in good shape. And then I was taken aback by how much rewriting the book
we've
required,
heard
how
that
much
from
of it was
multiple
was
authors.
not
Yep.
accurate. It has been increasingly less so with
Yep.
every book that I have written. But the first book, I went on so many tangents that were ultimately so important for me to understand the characters, but did not play like an
Yeah.
on-page
yeah.
role in the
Sure.
story. Yeah.
So it had importance. It didn't
Yeah,
make
it was
the
all
final
like
just
cut, but
didn't
it
make the
was
useful
cut.
for
Yeah.
you.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it just did
Okay.
not it was not all usable in the like
Yeah.
towards the final word count. And I think that was a
That's a
surprise.
really beautiful way to word that too, of like that gives me a new perspective about edits, because we talk about this a lot with him being in advertising and copywriting. I'm like, I don't think I could do that job because I'm so sensitive to critical feedback sometimes. And so I sometimes see those things as like, oh, those were my mistakes. Now I have to go fix this. But I love how you described that was all so important for you
You
as the
needed
writer
it,
and
yeah.
getting to know these characters. Like it was so important. It's just not going to be part of the final product, but
Yeah.
that process had to happen. And I love
That's
that. I
yeah.
feel like that shifts my
That
brain
helps
a
a
little bit
lot.
in my
It's
thinking as
good. And it's
Yeah.
good if
we go
you're going
through
through
this.
that with
Yeah.
your stuff because it's all
Yeah.
information that gives you control and precision over the story,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
gives your
Yes.
characters texture. So like no work is
Yeah.
wasted, I think.
Yeah. I love
Mhm.
that. I love that.
How are your friends and family like really reacting? Were they surprised? Are they like, we love it? Are they
Yeah,
proud?
I
Is
mean,
it
no one has
All
told
the
me that I
things.
know that they hated it. Yeah, my husband's super supportive. He is involved in my writing process. He usually
oh
reads
nice,
my second drafts like chapter by chapter and kind of called me on my picks and
cool.
is like, why do you refuse to develop fathers? And
Yeah.
you know, like, anything that I did,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
don't actually, but like it was
Yeah.
becoming a problem in my second book. And the first, Nicole's father, is kind of this off-page concept, and in the second I was
Yeah.
just like kind of doing it again, and it's like, why are you doing this
Yeah.
again? Like, you know, look at. And so he's
Yeah.
really wonderful. My friends are super supportive. Everyone is really all in. It's been
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
That's
that.
so
I'm
exciting. I
excited.
know. And
I would love for you to talk about this second book because I know this first one's deeply personal to you and your experience. Like, tell us a little bit about the project.
yeah.
Yeah, I will. So the book is called Trope Sick. It's another
Mhm.
big mess of a love story. This one's even weirder. It's about an all grown up girl next door named Katie and her dead brother's best friend, a now sober literary fiction author named Tyler. They're 25 and 27, which is markedly younger than my first book for a reason, which is I needed them still reeling from these events that had occurred
Yeah.
in high
Mhm.
school,
Mhm.
which they are. So Katie's brother has died of a drug overdose. Tyler is involved in the addiction in high school. Tyler has changed his
Sure.
life, and he and Katie have not spoken since the death of her brother. And
Sense.
then they
Oh,
are
wow.
Gotcha.
magically brought back together to ghostwrite a love story in a mansion in the Hamptons. And it is a preposterous setup by design
Very cool.
because the story is sort of a love letter to the genre. And so impossible things
Yeah.
happen to bring these people back to each
Cool.
other.
Yeah.
And then the tropes that they're writing into their book start coming true, and they
Love it.
cannot explain why. And so there is this sort of pulsing mystery of the mysterious reclusive author that is hosting them for the summer and what she is hiding from them and why these tropes are coming true. And at the same time, the tropes are working. They're bringing these people back to each other and forcing them to communicate and work through their trauma to like kind of secure their happily ever after. So it is
Very cool.
weird, it is sad, it is hot, it's messy, and it features
Yes.
my favorite component of a love story, which is hot people screaming at each other.
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
I love how you bring your beautiful brain to these stories and like bring something different. Like you
Yeah.
said, push outside of the comfort zone a little bit.
And I
Like,
Make
also
it
think
yours.
like
I
yeah,
love it.
and it's like my closing remarks are always this, which is like a zillion people are doing this and they're doing it well. So if there is no reason to do it the way that someone else does it because it's already being done really well. So like just do you and like
Yeah.
and
Love it.
hone it, you know, and I
Right,
really
what you
believe
love
that.
to
Yeah.
read.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
What's
that's
interesting to
Trope
you?
Sick is next summer, right?
Yeah, it comes out in June.
2026.
So
Awesome.
yes.
Awesome.
That's gonna be a good one. Well, we'll close out with our
Yeah.
final
Hit it with
five,
the final
our
five.
lightning
Okay,
round question.
let's do
So
it.
yeah, and just whatever comes to your brain first. Don't overthink it. Just have fun. And the first one we've kind of already answered. Open door or closed door?
Well, I love an open door. I want it
Yeah,
all.
absolutely.
Give it all to me. Yes.
Sexiest occupation for a main character?
Oh, man or woman?
Could be anything.
Okay,
I don't
I
know.
feel like man, we want like something that is brain that requires hands. I think that's why we like a surgeon or an architect or something. Is
Yeah.
like
Okay.
it's very there's I think there's like
Woodworking,
inherently
creative.
like kind of sexual, like
Yeah.
thinking
Yes.
man's physical job, right?
Yes.
For a woman, oh gosh, I feel like we're all women are hot, no matter what they choose to do.
I'm gonna say
They have had
podcast
enough. They
host.
have had enough
Thanks.
sexism and Glassdoor crap in their
They can
career.
be
So
hot in
you're
anything
hot
they
no
want.
matter what when you're a woman.
I love
Congratulations.
it.
You
I
did
love it.
Yes.
You did it.
Yes. What is your favorite beverage while riding?
Oh, okay, before noon, coffee. Realistically, before 10 a.m. coffee, and then we'll pivot to Diet Coke. Yes.
The Diet Coke. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Just caffeine around the clock.
Caffeine.
Yes.
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 telling you.
Yes. I love it. Fuels the madness. I love it. Favorite punctuation mark? I know you talked
Mm.
about
M
loving a
dash.
period.
Oh,
M
the
dash.
M
I
dash.
know. I
love an
love
M
the
dash.
M dash.
And I love a period.
So important.
Yes.
And you did that very well. Yes. What's one word you always overuse in a first draft?
Ooh. Stretched.
Like in description of movement?
Stretched. Because
Stretched.
I like when moments stretch. I like
Oh, yeah.
trees stretch. Everything is always kind of expanding to me, and there's not that many good
Okay.
options for that. And so
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I love that question.
I like
that question
That's a
always makes
good
me so
one. Yeah,
happy.
that's
There's
a-
so many good answers
Thank
to
you
that
for
one.
playing our final five.
Yes.
And thank you for spending time
Thank you
with
for hanging
us
out with
today.
us.
My
Yes,
gosh,
it
what a
was lovely.
fun conversation.
peasy.
Thank you. I feel like I learned so much.
I
I'm
know,
like, man, I'm
it's
going to be
great.
processing for a while.
know.
My brain's going to
It's
be just
process.
kicking
Do it again in
process.
June. It'll be a good time.
I love it.
So,
Yes, indeed.
Yes, definitely. But please, everyone, go grab the best worst thing. It is so beautiful and chaotic and fun and sexy and all the things.
It's just been honestly inspiring. Like this conversation's been really fantastic. Your vulnerability and your truth. We just love it. And for our listeners out there, go get a copy of The Best Worst Thing. It's already out, October 14th. There it is.
Beautiful.
Trope 6 coming soon next year. We'll be chatting about that soon enough. But thank you so much, and we can't wait to see what you do next, Lauren. Thank you for joining us. That was such a fun interview. I love it when authors come in their authentic self, and Lauren was just amazing and gave us extra time. And so thank you, Lauren. Thank you out there.
Thank you.
We can't wait to talk to you again when the next book comes out.
June.
And I hope everybody out there enjoyed it. I'm back.
Are you glad that you didn't have to watch Matt in this outfit the whole time? Now?
Yeah. If you're watching this, I did not wear it.
We said after the interview, we
listening.
felt like we've known Lauren forever, though. Like,
Yeah.
it was so fun to talk to, and
Yes.
just such a great.
She communicates a lot like we do, very open and straightforward, honest.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Great.
I do, before we sign off, have another Halloween-themed game if you want to play.
Okay, I do.
I love games. I love a good game. I love a good bit. This one I'm calling Trick or Thirst.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
And so it's more about like what's the sexiest costume, right? So I'm going to give you some options. Some of them are going to be this versus that character-wise, and some of them are just going to be like general, like which version of this character is the sexiest. Okay. So it's kind of a mishmash, but it's really just to figure out what I need to dress in.
I was gonna say you're just trying to figure out what I find sexy. Okay.
What kind of costume I need to buy.
Yes. Okay. Yes, because this is not it. I love you. And yes, this is not it. Go ahead. Was this one of the choices?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's not very nice.
You are sexy. You as Stella, not sexy.
You don't like my look?
It's a look.
Okay. All right, fine. Here we go. We'll start easy. Edward Cullen versus Edward Scissorhands.
Oh my gosh.
What's the sexier? Because they're still different. Like you got sparkly skin and whatever.
Both violent
and then
could injure you. Yes.
You know, got some scissors.
Yeah, both situations
can
could
clip
be
your little bushes. You know what I'm saying? No? Okay.
Too far. No, I think it would have to be Edward Cullen.
Edward Cullen. Okay, so you're more on the.
I'm more on the Rob Pattinson over Johnny Depp side. Although Johnny Depp is like Jack Sparrow. I don't know.
Okay.
In those roles, yes.
Okay. How about Dracula versus Count Chocula?
Although, can I say, even though I wasn't Team Jacob, I think Taylor Lautner is cuter than Rob Pattinson.
Agreed.
But I was Team Edward for the books. Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
Sorry, what was it?
Dracula versus Count Chocula. Like if someone's been dressed up as that.
This makes me think back to when you did the impromptu, like, made up stories and the guy was a count in a castle or something.
He had all the door locks.
Yes. Yes.
You want to do it
I'm
again?
gonna go with Count Dracula. I like the
Okay.
air of
You
the
like more of a
scary thing.
Dracula kind
I
of
don't
thing?
like the overly cartoony. Yeah, no.
Oh, we could have done the Count, I guess.
No, I have like a sexier version of Dracula in my mind, you know.
Okay.
Like
Like Hotel Transylvania, the Adam Sandler animated one, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Okay, fine. What about Thor versus Thoreau? You know, like the guy who wrote Walden, Transcendentalism and stuff. Like very.
I don't remember Thoreau being known for being a super hottie, but I haven't researched it. But
Maybe it's brain.
as soon as you said
the brains of
Thor,
bronze.
and I think Chris Hemsworth, I'm like, whatever was coming next was gonna be tough to beat.
You know what I'm talking about? Like if I got dressed up as this.
Yeah, no, I want you to be Thor.
I don't want you to be thinking about these other fellas.
Oh, I'm not picturing the people.
You're picturing the wrong thing.
Outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I want Thor. Yes.
Okay.
Call that hammer.
Excuse me?
Yeah, it's part of the costume.
What about, you mentioned him earlier, actually. I should have gone straight to that. Teen Wolf versus Jacob from Twilight. Both wolves.
Oh, yeah, Jacob.
Okay. You know he hides his clothes behind his knee when he transforms.
The whole thing was very realistic, okay? Don't pick it apart.
So weird. Okay, fine. I've got some broader ones for you. And this one you can probably think about the person a little bit, but more the vibe. Sexiest Batman.
Oh, who? Which one?
Like Adam West, Michael Keaton, George Clooney, Pattinson's version, Affleck's version.
Maybe Ben Affleck.
Bale's
you told
version?
me not to think about these people.
Like I'm thinking more of like which version of Batman, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess you can think about the person's.
Probably Affleck.
Okay. The Affleck version of Batman. Okay.
George Clooney was good.
I guess the last one I've got here for you. Which sexy version of Spider-Man then? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland.
You're really thinking that I've
Miles
seen
Morales.
all of these movies. I'm like, do you remember the movies I watched?
But you know who these people are.
I know who they are, but not as these characters necessarily. Like,
you know, they just be out there web slinging. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, that's a tough one.
Okay.
I mean, sexiest. Isn't that what you want?
Yeah,
you
sure. Which one's the
like
best?
Crazy.
The best one.
Oh man, maybe Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
Tobey Maguire's a close second, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He was the upside down kiss scene, right?
Yes,
Tobey Maguire. I mean, that's iconic. I saw somebody recreated that at their wedding.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
For you.
That was a good
fun bit. Yeah.
It's a good bit from 2002. Yeah.
But you know who I really want you to dress up as?
Myself, because I'm perfect and wonderful.
Yes, and Noah Calhoun from The Notebook. And I'll be Allie.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
I don't know who it is.
Ryan Gosling.
Haven't talked to anybody. You know, I was talking to somebody about the podcast, and then I asked them, like, well, what's one of your favorite movies? And they went straight to The Notebook.
Interesting.
And this was like 5 minutes apart.
Like it's required watching.
And I said, you know what? Matter of principle. Oh, matter of principle.
Maybe someday. But yeah, you could be Noah Calhoun.
I don't know who that is. Okay. Well, that's it. That's all I had for the sexiest costumes trick or thirst. So thank you for playing. And now
try them out.
Yeah, I've circled them all on my
paper. Pictures on the Instagram.
So now I know who I need to dress up as. I will be Thor. Apparently, that's my latest.
That was a good one.
I could use this wig.
Yeah, that's true. You could.
My Thor wig.
You're already halfway there. I love it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Well,
that's it.
As we wrap up our Halloween ridiculousness episode, we will remind you again, please go purchase a copy of The Best Worst Thing by Lauren Okie. You can find her on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Lauren Okie Author. And her website is laurenokie.com, and that's OKIE. Fantastic book. And yeah, you got to hear some of just the depths of it and the fun and the chaos of it during that episode. So yeah, go check it out for yourself. Let us know what you think. But yeah, thank you for joining us for that. And you can
Where can you find us?
Us?
Yeah, continue.
on
I'm listening.
Instagram, Facebook, and
stretch.
TikTok at Our Next Chapter
Yep.
Podcast.
Yep. On all the, what were those platforms again?
Instagram, TikTok,
Yep.
Threads,
Facebook,
all the places.
Facebook.
You can email us and get it, let us know
email
your
us.
thoughts. Let us know how you say Halloween.
Yep.
Or Halloween.
Uh-huh.
Our Next Chapter Pod at gmail.com.
Uh-huh. Don't we have a newsletter or something?
We have a non-existent newsletter
where you can get your name in the book?
Is a golden ticket to get your name into our book when we publish it as an OG fan.
And where
And you
would
can
one
sign up for
find
that on our website.
and tell me, okay.
And our website is
continue, I'm listening.
http://www. See, I would have sent you to the wrong place. www.ournextchapterpodcast.com.
Wow. Thank you for that
That's where
clarity.
you can find us, in case you were wondering how a website
That's the
works.
treat I got for Halloween right there.
Well, that's it. That's all your treats. Okay.
All right.
Until next time, I love you.
And I love you. Okay. That's it. It's too itchy.
My candies were superior, but I don't even know. Did you really look at my list?
Maybe.
Did you really?
Maybe. That's why I wanted to go first, so I could take peanut M&Ms.
I even covered it. I knew you would, just because you knew that was my
cheater.
favorite. That's why I covered it with my paper.
Yeah. Welcome to me. I'm a cheater, okay? This is what I do. I like to...
Glad I didn't sit next to you in class.
I know. I might have got good grades.
True.